knows what the ASMP is, and Sean Henry is the national president of that organization. And of course, as a successful individual photographer, knows the issues and deals with these issues continually. And the main thing, of course, is by being both a photographer and an ASMP president, you get the feeling that he cares deeply about the future of the creative industries and knows really what the needs are of individual photographers. Always provocative. Let's go.
First, I apologize for my coughing. I had a cold for a couple of weeks. Sorry I was coughing while you were speaking. I hope I don't cough while I'm speaking. Next, I'd just like to thank ASPP for having us here. I appreciate it. I was disappointed to learn that none of those guys had to pay to be up here. The only other time I've done this was in China, and I was with an interpreter, and I discovered that jokes don't go well. I'll refrain from most jokes. So the new copyright economy, I'm here to provide a photographer's perspective on that. So what are we talking about? Content, licensing, royalties, content users, rights holders. I guess we're talking about all that stuff. But mainly we're talking about photographs, or at least I think that's, when it comes down to it, that's what we're speaking about. I put this in to tickle Royal, but because this, you'll see this presentation later, but this is a slide from a presentation I saw a couple days ago about licensing photographs, and in 34 or 36 pages of the presentation, photographs or photographers weren't mentioned at once. So I was happy to be here to remind folks that it is in the end about the photographs. And again, photographs, because they are a lot of times worth 1,000 words, sometimes $1,000, sometimes a lot more than $1,000. This, iconic imagery like this, Greg gave us back in the '88 Olympics. Photographed by my friend Brian Smith, won a Pulitzer Prize for that image, among others. So it's important to remember, I think, as we're discussing this new economy, talking about rights holders, royalties, et cetera, that photographs are at the core of that, and as important to this are the photographers who do this. And as Lynn said, it's important to remember that we have to be able to make a living while doing this. So the new copyright economy, are there new threats? Yes. New opportunities, certainly. We have bloggers, tons of bloggers out there that could very well be a great resource of micropayments. Unfortunately, many of them don't. This image of mine that originally shot for Business Week appeared on that blog without payment or notification. And actually, there was a photo editor researching this guy who notified me about this. If Google and Google Books case, I'm sure all of you are familiar with it. Right now, ASPP and a number of other associations are involved in a suit with Google about the book project. And in preparation for this, I'd never actually looked for myself in the Google Book project. And I discovered this, a book I worked on a number of years ago, Family in Ethiopia. So there's Google, and multiple uses, print, web. As Lynn was saying, I think that the general idea now of many publications, this is Forbes, is that it's all one platform. I think there probably was an opportunity to actually capitalize or monetize. It's a current term previously. Not so much today, we may be beyond that, but it's still a possibility. Again, there's a photograph that ran in the magazine. Also, I think a big problem we face, particularly photographers, is the question of value of what our digital clients, what the public perceives as the value of the photograph. These are a couple of photographs I shot for Forbes, the CEO, president, and majority owner of Orbis. They love the photographs. They contacted me about licensing them for their own use. So I researched a bit, went to getting images, researched what a generic flight instrument image would be for the uses they had specified. It was $14,080. Talked to a number of my friends who deal in this market much more than I do. I offered them a price significantly lower than this, but substantially more money than they wanted to pay. They subsequently told me that they had talked to another photographer who would charge them $1,000 for a rights print on this images, and I wished them well. I told them good luck and did not license money. But social media, I think, is something that people are talking about as being potentially an explosive market, or not an explosive market, but a potential market for some income, little pieces of income here and there. Facebook is an example, Pinterest earlier. It may be the case, I'm not sure how much Facebook wants to pay me for me to post my pictures of Southwest airline wings. If they do, that'd be great. I'm not sure how big a market that's going to be. The new technologies, this is a bad addition of time. But with new technologies, the two ladies were just describing come in new terms. This is a recent license request for a textbook relicensing, the image that I had done, probably, actually this is the image from Ethiopia, that I probably licensed for this book 8 times previously. Initially, all the licenses were the standard licenses she was explaining, 40,000 print run, North American English language rights only. Over time, electronic editions were added to that, an additional 10,000 or 20,000 copies. And for slight increases in money, but on average, probably all those licenses in the past were $400 to $600, depending on when it was. And so now we come to this most recent license. It's for print run of 200,000 copies, worldwide distribution, print and electronic, for a period of 15 years. And it goes on to cover not just this edition, but they want to cover all future editions and any potential portion of the book that they take out and use someplace else in the future. I was told that the dealer getting from Corpus and getting $350 for all these uses. It's a standard fee, and I invited him to try to find a photograph of the family from Ethiopia that I photographed in Corpus and getting, because they don't have it, and so they came back to me for much more. So as we talk about the new copyright economy, I think it's important for us to remember that the old copyright economy wasn't that bad. I know it's a little difficult, but if you're a picture researcher or a photo editor, you want to hire me for a job, or you want to license one of my photographs, you pick up the phone or send me an email, we agree to a price for the particular use you want, and it was a pretty handy thing. It was good. So I hope we don't get so far removed from that in this process of automation and mechanically read licenses, et cetera, because the personal connection there is important. I have clients that work for it. They've been doing this for about 25 years, and I have a handful of clients that continue to work for it. So I also think we should ask ourselves what the purpose of copyright is. And I think that Lynn said it incredibly well, and I resisted the urge to lean over and kiss her when she said it, but when it comes down to it, the basic purpose is for the rights holder to make money, right? And to make enough money so they go out and create more. And if that's not happening, the valuation corporations or society are placing on copyrighted works is so diminished that we're unable to do that, then I think that's a bad thing for society, and certainly for me. Not pressing the button. So what's the problem? These days, I think it's the contract silly, and most people I know will know that that's sort of a riff on Bill Clinton's comment about, it's the economy stupid. I say it's the contract silly because my grandma Henry didn't like the word stupid. She forbid me to say it, and said it was, it's rude and wrong and mean-spirited, and she was a product of the Dust Bowl, a product of the Great Depression, escaped the Dust Bowl, moved to California, had quit school when she was 13, wound up helping to raise her family, raise her siblings, raised her family, my father, uncle, and then when she was, I guess in her 50s, went to college, became a teacher, and taught thousands of other kids not to say stupid. Because to her, words matter. And so, as a photographer, you would think that I have a glamorous life. Me not photographing all the time. But what I actually spend a lot of my time doing is and I have nothing against lawyers. I love lawyers. I actually love a lawyer. Not Chris, in case you're wondering. But sometimes I wish you would stop writing contracts, because every time you do, I have to do this to it. And even once I do this, and this is from a job I just shot last month, they asked me for an estimate. I provided. I asked them what rights they needed. They said, 1 year, regional trade magazine. I said, perfect. I wrote it. Gave my price. They accepted it. The day before the job, because we were at our symposium we held last month here in New York, I got an email saying, hey, Sean, I'm sorry about this, just one more document you need to sign. And it was this work from hire. And so I looked at it and just emailed back quickly when I saw work for hire that that's not what we had talked about, that wasn't the rates that she asked for. And her reply was, oh, sorry about that, it's just a standard contract. So mark out what you don't want. So I did. Shot the job the next day, and then after shooting the job, so anyway, work made for hire, that's what the bane of our industry right now, I think, for me as a photographer. I think that for publications, for publishers to use work made for hire agreements as an easy tool to manage the rights, it's just silly. You're going to drive the people who create that content out of the market, and it's not good. So after crossing that out, I received the purchase order, which again, it's hard to see, but all the red that's marked out contained all the same language that was in that other document that I didn't really need to sign either, including indemnification clauses, et cetera, et cetera. So I crossed all that out, and eventually. This is actually one of my favorite clients historically. I'm not going to name them, but the Capitalist Tool has a long time been their little tagline. And actually, about 10 years ago, actually 2001, I was actually involved in helping to redraft a new contract, and it was without doubt the single best contract in the editorial industry. It was fair. They only asked for what they wanted to use. We had an agreed upon schedule of additional payments for additional usage. It was nice and clean, and it was just a gorgeous thing. Should have been a model for how the industry worked, but with the crash in the economy, that's not what happened. But this is their most recent contract, which is, it's not a work for hire agreement. You're just asked to transfer all of your rights and title of your images to them. So are they a capitalist tool now, or just a tool? I did check with both Nancy and Chris, and tool actually is a legal word, or it has become a legal definition. So, but they're still nice because they do allow you, well, 2 paragraphs down, I can make prints and sell artwork. So that's the one remaining right I have for it. So for copyright to work, it really has to work for everybody. And I think I came on the board of ASPP about 5.5 years ago. It wasn't too long after that we joined the Copyright Alliance down in Washington, D.C. And I'm sure most of you are familiar with it. Big players in the industries, Sony, CBS, Disney, and they like to hold us out quite often to say, hey, here's the little guy that whose rights you're protecting by supporting copyright. And the problem, Gene and I butt heads about this a lot. The problem with that is that yes, copyright is for me also. But they're destroying the value of copyright with these work for hire contracts and these rights transfers. And it's, there's a lot of movement in the industry. There's a lot of support from those big guys for SOPA, BIPA, et cetera, et cetera. That doesn't do anything for me or other independent photographers. The small claims system that Chris was talking about earlier, that's something that would help. But what really would help most of all is for people to just be fair and equitable and understand they need to pay their suppliers enough so that they can actually continue in business. I'm almost done. This is, again, one of those situations where, Chris pointed out earlier in his commentary that registration actually protects your interests in copyright, and as it turns out, it doesn't when registration is invalidated on a technicality by a judge who possibly doesn't quite understand copyright. But again, in order for copyright to work, in order for society to respect copyright, everyone, including the corporations who utilize the material, needs to respect copyright also. And so, it's hard to see the lights on, but this is a gentleman who runs an organic egg farm. And I guess the reason I put this up there is because I want to say, don't count your chickens before they're hatched. But I'm ever the optimist, and I think this is a great industry. Being a photographer is a wonderful job. And I think the new copyright economy, despite the challenges that are present in it also holds some great promise, and I don't intend to leave the industry anytime soon. So that's